And I guess we're live. What's it wasn't really meant to be like. I was expecting something like big, like bang,
Dad
Atlanta. Like
bod.
I'm so disappointed. Atlanta literally just let me down, idiots. But
Oh no.
let's get into the big news, or like the big match of the day: Manchester United versus Liverpool. And to be fair, the build up for the game was huge. It felt big, and it was the last time I considered a big Manchester United Liverpool match was probably 2009 at Old Trafford. Do you remember the Rafa Benitez thing about it's a fact and all sorts of? But Jack, tell me what you think of this game.
Uh, I was really disappointed, and I think it's gonna definitely go down like over the course of the whole season. We're gonna look back on it as a standout for either team. If either of these teams do indeed go on to win the league, or if indeed one of them fails to win the league, is a really big point. Manchester United should have won the game. I don't want to hear any of this stuff about Liverpool and their possession and their shots. De Gea had nothing to do. Manchester United defence played really, really well. There were two big chances of the game. Both went to Manchester United. The Fernandes one, which Alisson with an incredible save. Fernandes, by the way, his worst game, I think, in a Manchester United shirt. I'm sure we could probably agree on that, James, maybe.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he wasn't that great, to be fair.
And then, the other one was Pogba. It's unbelievable he even had the chance, because that first touch is a difficult first touch to try and get under control. But the fact that he managed to get that first touch good enough, he should have scored. People yet again talking about Alisson, it was straight at him, guys. If you're in that position, and maybe you give him credit for getting in that position, but Pogba blasted it at him. So I'm not giving Alisson too much credit there, but yeah, Manchester United should have won this game. It was just weird, because usually the types of things that I think you would expect to happen out of the game weren't really happening. I don't know about how you felt about it, but I'm sure we'll get on to talking about Liverpool's front three, how Fabinho and Henderson really aren't even that bad as centre backs, if we're being totally honest as well. I don't know. Fear is the kind of word that I would sum up that whole game with.
Me looking at that, I felt Manchester United controlled the game from start to finish. Yeah, they didn't come in and like we're scintillating going forward, but the first thing when you come to Anfield, you must stop Liverpool from playing.
Right.
We've seen against Tottenham, especially in the first 25 minutes, Liverpool were outstanding. It was all inspiring. They absolutely barricaded Tottenham. And watching them today, I couldn't really think of one big Liverpool chance that they created. Jack, could you think of any Liverpool that created at all, especially in the first half?
I mean, there were a lot of kind of the biggest one was the Thiago one. I can't even remember if that was first half or second half, but he kind of hit that.
That was a shot from like 25 yards out, and
exactly.
It was, to me, it was comfortable. Me watching it, I could see what Ollie was trying to do. So the lineup came out and it showed that Martial was going to be the striker for the game. But when you actually watch the game, Martial played out on the left, and it was Rashford that played through the center. And you could clearly see what Manchester United were trying to do, trying to get the ball over the top into Rashford. I think I counted in the first half alone that there was about Rashford was offside 6 times. If he could have timed his runs a little bit better and balls over the top would have been weighted better, Liverpool would have been in some serious trouble because they had some big opportunities from that, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, Alisson did a good job of sweeping. I do think that needs to be said. I think even if a lot of those opportunities, if Rashford is onside, I would still back Alisson to kind of cover that and make sure he's there to sweep. I think the thing that stood out to me, and James, I took the risk of tweeting it mid-game just so that it could potentially bite me in the arse a little bit later. But I was tweeting about, this really is the beginning of the end for this Liverpool front three. I think Diogo Jota is an automatic starter over one of them. I don't know which one of them at this point. I'm a really big Sadio Mane fan, but I think Salah and Firmino, I would say their spots are up for grabs for a player like Diogo Jota, a player like Kylian Mbappe potentially in the summer. But it's the beginning of the end for this three. The conviction, and I think the word that I heard a lot on the Sky Sports broadcast, decisiveness, is not there. They're really good at doing that kind of 90% of the job, but then that last 10% where they used to just, take a touch in the box that was laying it off, or turning and shooting or something like that, it's no longer there. Their defensive record as of late has been really good, and it makes me think that, again, I'd like to kind of pat myself on the back a little bit. I do still think Virgil van Dijk is a terrific centre-back, but it does just prove that Virgil van Dijk was not the be-all and end-all defensively for this team. And what's actually letting Liverpool down at the moment in these games that are draws is a lack of goals. Is it 3 games now where they haven't scored a goal?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
3 games without a goal.
That's really poor. I think if I'm Jurgen Klopp, I'm starting Divock Origi maybe as striker in the next game, just say to Firmino, hey, this is Liverpool. We're champions. We're recent European champions, and we need to get something going here. Minamino starting over Salah or Mane, just stir things up a little bit. But the moment Jota is back, I think he goes straight into the starting lineup and stays there.
Diego Jota, to be honest, he is a huge part of this Liverpool team. But when you look at it, I said to myself, so Liverpool have Thiago Alcantara in midfield, and we spoke about this so many times how Liverpool needed that, needed that type of midfielder. They get him. Firmino, we know he doesn't score goals, but we know what he contributes on the ball. We know the type of chances he creates, but he isn't really creating that right now. And as I said, when the goals dry up from Salah and Mane, it looks a real issue. Who is really going to score? Wijnaldum. Go on,
just quickly. You know what it kind of makes me think of? Some players just come out of nowhere, and you're like, how is there not like Kante, right? Kante just joined Leicester and then was like the best midfielder in the world for like a good year or so period within his role. It's games like that where you start to go, where did Firmino come from? Oh, Hoffenheim. Was he particularly good at Hoffenheim when they signed him? Oh, maybe not. Sadio Mane, he's always been a great player. Where did he come from? Oh, Southampton. Mo Salah obviously had a great year, but again, it's at Roma. You're not talking really about kind of cream of the crop, top talent players in terms of where they've come from. Now, since signing for Liverpool, they have proven what they're capable of. They're European champions. They won a Premier League in emphatic style, best team, probably in the world for a good, 18-month period or so. But those kind of opinions, anyway, that I had when they first signed for Liverpool are starting to just creep back in. I'm like, who really is this guy anymore? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't go that far yet, Jack. I do feel like Mo Salah is proven beyond proven. You can't come into the Premier League and straight up your first season, you break the Premier League goal scoring record for most goals in a single season, and then next season's rather top scorer or thereabouts. Sadio Mane, you know how I feel about them, but right now for them, I feel like it's a lack of service. It's a lack of chances for Mo Salah. It's a lack of chances for Sadio Mane, and that's a problem. If they fall to Firmino, he's a good player, but you're not going to back him to score. But again, you would back your Mo Salahs, you would back your Sadio Mane. So it's up to Liverpool right now to get more chances for them, or they need to find a goal scorer from somewhere else. If that's Divock Origi, if that's Shaqiri came in today, and I was wondering what position he was going to pick up.
Yeah.
He picked up a number 10 role in a way, and I wasn't really sure what was going on there, because Fabinho's always been that 9.5, 10 / guy who drops in, and then then you have Shaqiri dropping into his space. It looked a bit clogged up in there. That it wasn't as free flowing. You wanted one of them to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to take that role, and I'm going to play a bit higher up the field to occupy Manchester United's 2 defenders, and we didn't really see that from either one of the players.
No, Manchester United did defend very well. I think Wan-Bissaka did lock down Sadio Mane for large parts of the game. Luke Shaw, I think, best performance in a Manchester United shirt I've seen him play, and it came at a pretty good time. Lindelof did provide that kind of composed air that somebody like Eric Bailly might not have to his game just yet. And Harry Maguire, obviously, despite all the criticism, is still a top 5 centre-back in this league, and who's very, very capable of providing good performances like that. The moment you see Fred and McTominay on the team sheet, you know what type of game it's going to be in midfield as well. I agree with you with Shaqiri. I'd almost have because it seemed like Klopp was very keen to go attacking. I would have potentially tried to actually play Firmino at 10, maybe in the role Shaqiri occupied, and then start somebody like Divock Origi, because I'm sure that would catch a team like Manchester United by surprise. Origi's a hard one to pin down. You don't know quite what he's going to do. He's very unpredictable. But then again, the game was full of that kind of stuff. Paul Pogba is kind of a right-sided midfielder. He didn't have.
We're going to get to him. We're going to get to him.
Okay, I won't.
In a minute, but I just want to touch down on Fabinho. Are we looking at the next best defender in the Premier League? Because he was absolutely brilliant today. Jordan Henderson had a great game as a centre back too, but for Fabinho, he's just showing like his versatility as a midfielder. Like he's a great midfielder, but is playing a centre back his best position now, Jack?
I think yet again, this is kind of symptomatic, in my opinion, of modern football and where centre backs have gone. Everybody, I don't know, James, if we've actually got any people watching at the moment, but anybody who is watching, go and check out our greatest of all time centre back edition. Make a couple of comments in that, talking about how the modern centre back really.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah. Okay. It's coming out soon. But little teaser. I make a comment in that video where the modern centre back, especially for the top teams, his passing is looked at first and foremost before they're defending as a centre back. And I think for a team like Liverpool, having a holding midfielder with a good array of passing ability, move back to centre back, is actually a much easier transition than for a lot of teams. I think if we had Fabinho playing in centre back for Sheffield United or West Brom, we'd be talking about a different player at centre back. But in this Liverpool team and the possession that they did have today, yeah, he didn't put a foot wrong, composed. Rashford running through, I think, with Cavani coming across, really chased him down, managed to stop him from progressing. And I think that if you were talking about a race between Rashford and Fabinho, you'd only think there'd be one winner.
To be fair, and I think there was that moment where like Rashford there was a 2v1 with Cavani in the Rashford, and to be fair, I felt Rashford should have played the ball earlier to Cavani, but like Fabinho's ability to go against Rashford, not beating for pace, but just slow him down, and ask him to make a decision, ultimately take him into Henderson and ultimately siphon the ball out. I thought that was absolutely brilliant for him. Everything he did today was brilliant. Without
fouling him too. I mean, we've got to be honest, this Manchester United team is very, very quick. I am not one of the believers that, the refs, there's a conspiracy theory that Man United get these penalties. I think that Man United get these penalties because they have players who run at you in the box and then just shift the ball ever so slightly. And, if you leave a leg out, you're going to go down. And Fabinho played that very, very well. It's very, very quick for him to try and make a tackle when maybe he shouldn't, stick a leg out. Rashford's going straight over that. Bruno Fernandes is probably scoring a penalty, and the drama continues.
Let me just move on to Manchester United quickly, and I don't know, where do we start? Maybe let's talk about Paul Pogba quickly, Jack, and his role today, because he didn't play in his normal position as a midfielder sitting in there. He was asked to do a job out wide, and I'll tell you that playing out wide isn't an easy job to do, especially getting up and down. But I felt he covered Aaron Wan-Bissaka really, really well today. He showed his defensive capabilities, but also was a threat going forward for Manchester United today. What do you think about his performance?
I think Pogba's really good. He, unfortunately, and maybe this is a little too much of a criticism of Pogba, but it's unprofessional. And what I mean by that is, I don't know, I want to say 3 or 4 times where he lost the ball or misplaced a pass, and he kind of does this jump and he throws his hands down. He's like, oh man, I really messed that up. And it's like, you're in the middle of a game against Liverpool. You're top of the table. They're very, very close to you. Don't be upset about your pass and try and just show, I'm so disappointed in myself. Go chase the ball. Go fill your position again. There were a couple of opportunities where, more from a defensive point of view, as well as he did covering Wan-Bissaka, that he should have been on it a little bit more, a little more regimented, a little more disciplined. I think he did as well as he could have done in the position that he was being asked to play. I know at the very beginning they talked about it. Pogba's quote-unquote best position, and I know it's been a matter of debate for a long time, is the left central midfielder of a kind of a flat central midfield 3. So for him to play kind of as a wide right midfielder was very, very strange. I think potentially it's so that he doesn't get in Bruno's space too much, and Pogba and Bruno aren't kind of occupying the same space going forward. That's a kind of a thought that I did have going forward. But I agree with, we got somebody in the comments. I think it's your brother actually, talking about Bruno. It's his worst game in a Manchester United shirt.
I was literally going to highlight that. To be fair, I had him down for a bet to have 2 shots on target in the first half.
Oh, in the first half.
Yeah, second half he kind of sprung to life. But me watching him today, he wasn't the same Bruno that like we usually see. Like especially in the first half, he was picking up positions that you're not really seeing him. He was sometimes deep out, like deep out left. When the ball was in the box, he was around 30, 40 yards away. And I'm thinking what's really going on? He was very frustrated, to be fair, leaving the pitch, and I was wondering why. To be fair,
I think they locked him down pretty well. I will say that there was usually somebody rushing up to him just as Man United were about to break. There was usually somebody on him, preventing him to kind of play that one flick or to complete that turn to then be in a position to play his pass. So they did shut him down very well. I do really like him. I think he's brilliant. I loved him getting pissed off at the end of the game. Absolutely loved that. I think he was okay with Solskjaer at the end there. Like there was a bit of a high five going on, and it seemed okay. But you could see he was clearly frustrated that somebody like Mason Greenwood was going to come on at the time that he wasn't. A couple shots from deep, but yeah, not at his brilliant best. But like I said, what I really want to kind of major on, James, and I'm interested to ask you about this. The word I'm going to kind of really flash on for this game is fear. It just felt like 2 teams that were scared of the what if they lost. Liverpool, I think I know. Liverpool I think they know that we don't have many goals in this team. We've got 2 central midfielders playing at centre back. We don't have the fans at Anfield. All these kind of things. And Manchester United are ahead of us in the table. We haven't lost at Anfield in however many games, however many years, or whatever. We cannot allow ourselves to lose this game. Whereas Manchester United, it's like, hey, we're kind of actually lucky to be top of the table at the moment. A couple decisions have gone our way, a couple goals, a couple 1-0 victories here and there. And we don't want to go to Liverpool, who haven't been playing that well, and then lose. Because our form, Manchester United's form, is up and down as it is. I don't know what you think, but it felt like 2 teams who were really, really scared of what the outcome was going to be if each other lost, which is why we got a 0-0 game. It reminded me a lot of the Man City-Liverpool game, the 1-1, and it reminded me of the Manchester Derby game. It's teams that I don't think are totally comfortable in where they're at right now, and there's a little bit of fear of failure. And you end up having these kind of games where it's like, well, we didn't really have too much to talk about, no passion, no red cards, small goals or anything. I don't know what you think, but fear in these big games is starting to become a bit of a problem.
I thought Liverpool started off the game really, really well. We've seen a few crosses coming in from Trent and Robinson, but I want to give Manchester United credit. I thought Manchester United controlled and snuffed Liverpool out brilliantly. There was opportunities. If you look at the touches in the box in the first 20 minutes, you were thinking, oh, this might be a long day for Liverpool. But even as the game wore on, I was thinking, if this game gets a bit stretched, I think Liverpool were going to rip them apart with their front 3. But even when it went stretched, I thought Manchester United created the best opportunities and also also had the best chances overall, Jack.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one thing from a Manchester United perspective, I think I'd have liked to have seen is a little bit more of a commitment to acknowledging what's going on in the game and how you can start scoring goals. Because the counter-attack was fine, but it wasn't really producing enough moments. Most of the opportunities that Manchester United had, the clear ones, were off kind of higher tackles based in kind of the central third or even in Liverpool's third, where there was some quick play there. I'd have liked to have seen Donny van de Beek come on for Bruno Fernandes, have Donny van de Beek play in Pogba's position, Pogba move to Bruno Fernandes' position, and then obviously Cavani come on for Martial. I think that when you are a holding midfielder, and I'm not trying to discredit Jordan Henderson or Fabinho's centre-back capabilities, because God knows they're a hell of a lot better than mine, I just think that Cavani's clever, and maybe a centre back like Virgil van Dijk, maybe even a centre back like Joe Gomez, or even Joel Matip goes, I know this character. Cavani's smart. He does the kind of, feign to go forward, go to the back post, feign to the back, go to the front, drop out, drop in. He's clever. And I just think that Manchester United did not test the Liverpool centre-backs as much as they potentially could have done. We know what Rashford's about. We know what Martial's about. It's pure speed. It's quite two-dimensional from that standpoint for a centre-back to understand. But Cavani's kind of cleverness inside the box, potentially with somebody like Pogba linking up with him, Donny van der Beek linking up with him, I could have easily seen some sort of glancing front post header from Cavani, which catches Henderson or Fabinho, out at some point.
But Jack, does this result really surprise you? Because when you look at Manchester United in the big games this season, Arsenal, a 1-0 game that Arsenal scored from a penalty. And if you look at the overall game, it was a 0-0.
Yeah.
You have the game against Man City, one of the most boring games we'll see this season. Exact same thing with Chelsea. I think this is like when Manchester United play big games now, I don't think that they go there to win the game. I just don't. I think that they just must not lose. And this to me was a game I said Manchester United didn't have to win this game. They just should. They just must not lose. And they went in there against Anfield. They went to Anfield. They got a point, and still 3 points clear of Liverpool. I believe that's great for Manchester United. But if you're Ollie, if you look at the whole game, you would have felt coming to end, we should have nicked it. But a point, I think they'll take that hands down.
Yeah.
But Jack,
sorry,
where does this leave for you, the league right now? Because I'm not sure if you have the league table up.
I looked at it before. James, I'm so excited. We've been asking for a league like this for best part of like a decade. We've been wanting finally who's going to win the league. To me at this point, Spurs catch fire again. Who knows? Chelsea may be a bit far off at this point, but Chelsea catch fire again. Who knows, right? Arsenal,
Man City,
2 games in hand, and if they win both, they're a point and they're top of the table. Arsenal, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm not saying they will. No, but this is the banter. This has been the banter club all season. They're 3 points off Chelsea, who we were talking about how brilliant they were for ages. I'm just saying it's one of those leagues this year. And you know what I love about it most? You can poke holes in every single team. James, you tell me Man City going to win the league. I'm going to come at you and say they don't score enough goals. Liverpool going to win the league. They don't have a defence. They're playing midfielders and as defenders. Front 3 aren't scoring. Manchester United, inconsistent. Spurs now on a down spiral. There's holes you can poke in every single team. And the brilliant thing about that is, in years past, we've gone, well, Liverpool are amazing and City are amazing, so I guess it's just one of them and whoever slips up first. Whereas now it's people are slipping up every week. We don't know what's going to happen. I'd still say Liverpool for the title. At this rate, maybe City finishing second, Manchester United maybe third, just due to their inconsistency. But you can poke holes in every team, and I'm absolutely loving it.
We've waited how long to have a tough race for the title? Well, fairness, 2 years ago it was like great when like the United, not United, Liverpool and City were going at it. But when you have like a race where Leicester are second right now, you got Liverpool in there, you got Man City in there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful to see, and you can literally roll the dice and pick the team that's going to win it. Because you can say Liverpool and Man City, yes, they've been great throughout the last 3 years, but they haven't been that consistent this year. We cannot lie. I think Man City will be the first team to win like 5 straight games in a row. I think if they win today, so you really, really, really don't know. But this is the way we love the Premier League. You know, this is what I grew up in the Premier League, and see Manchester United actually in a title race. It feels like we're back in the early 2000s to me. You know, it feels like we got Ferguson back in there in the tunnel chewing his gum.
But I think you make that point, and that's really, really good, and I agree with you. But look at France. PSG aren't killing it in France. Germany, Bayern Munich have fallen off a lot recently. They're not dominating the league. Juventus are they're about to play Inter Milan. But Juventus are currently, I believe, in fourth in the Serie A table. Barcelona, I think, are languishing around fifth or sixth in La Liga. Atletico Madrid are top. I think this is the coronavirus impact on football, and we are seeing that. And if we can try and find a kind of a light amongst all the clouds here of the pandemic, we've got some really competitive football matches. And I don't know whether it's about home advantage and not having the fans or what, but we have some really interesting leagues. And hopefully game week 35, 36, 37, we're still not going to know who the champions are for all these leagues.
Well, guys, we've been with you for 15 minutes right now. We're going to do more of these as long as big games happen, as long as big talking points happen. We're going to come live. Thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football. Jack and Jay. Jack has to go catch Inter Milan Juve game, so that's why I just looked at it right now. The build-up is about to start. But thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Oh, we're still live, Jack.
What's up, everybody?